Division title. Has that sunk in that your team, for the third time in your 4 years, has gotten that job done?
Yeah, I mean, I think, in talking to the team, that was obviously one of the goals. That just gives us an opportunity to go play for the championship, so, really haven't accomplished what we set out to accomplish yet, but it's, I think it felt really good for this team to work as hard as it's worked to put ourselves in a position to do that.
Yeah, and you've been talking about that for a few weeks as far as the next chain and the next link in that chain of destiny. And it seems like the team's really embraced that mentality. But so what does this week against Wyoming represent in that chain?
Well, it's another opportunity to reach our full potential, and that's what we try to do each and every week. Senior week obviously is a really big deal. That's always emotional for our seniors to go up and down that ramp one last time and compete in front of our fans here in the stadium is always a special time. And so we have a short week, so we have to be on it. But it's anytime it's your last time, going down that ramp and coming up that ramp. As many times these guys practice down there and have done that, to know that this is our last opportunity in the stadium to compete, it's a pretty big deal, and so and each week out we try to do our best and try to reach our full potential, and this week will be no different.
Yeah, and every coach is a little different as far as all the things that happen for seniors on a week like this, and this is your first year back in the saddle. What should we expect as far as unique things that the seniors go through this week leading up to Friday night?
Nothing unique. Nothing unique. It's another week. It's Thanksgiving, so that will be a little bit different. So it being a short week on a Friday, having Thanksgiving. Wednesday we will have the lunch will be, a Thanksgiving meal, and so we won't bypass that by any means. But it's a short week, and it's for the seniors, it'll be practice as normal, and the thing that will be different is what goes on before the game.
My question was on the if you had a number. It's at the bottom of the press release. So.
What?
My question was if you had a number for how many seniors you're planning to honor, but it's right there. It's 12. So.
Yeah. It's 12. Could be a couple more, just because, with the whole COVID thing and 6 years and things like that, there may be a couple guys that say, it's I've graduated, I'm ready to move on. So that's a possibility. There could be one or two more, but officially there's 12.
Coach, what would you like to say about this senior class, at least the 12 that have exhausted their eligibility and will be running down that ramp one more time? Anybody that you'd like to single out or talk about this team as a whole?
No, I just think the whole group, go back a long way with some of them. Guys like Zane Pope and that crew of they've been around a long time and had the opportunity to recruit them, saw them grow from young kids and into young men, and the investment that they've made here, and so each one of them's a little bit different. My personal stories with them, on either it be recruiting them or just being around them for a long time, being around them and then leaving and then reunited with them. So each one's a little bit different, but it's a special group, no doubt about it. We have some guys who are leaving that won't be playing because they're injured, like Dante Bull. He's made a huge commitment to this program. Unfortunately, he won't be able to play, but I know he'll be looking forward to going down the ramp with his teammates.
Do you remember your senior day, running down that ramp?
I don't really. That's a long time ago. I don't necessarily remember that.
So, again, not to single out any of the seniors in particular, but obviously people like to talk about the quarterback and look at the quarterback. Jake came here in 2019 because of the history that his family has with this program. What has Jake meant, not just to the team this season, but even when he came here in 2019 when you were here the first time?
Well, Jake's done a great job, to come the first time and to sit out and do what he could do for this on the scout team. He's made a huge commitment to this program. Jake and I go back a long way, back whatever, I don't know, when he was 9 or 12 or whatever, we go back a long way. But he's been really committed to this program and has made a major impact on the program. There's no doubt about that. And, so he told me last week, he says, I'm just warning you right now, next Friday I'm going to be a mess. And I said, don't worry, so am I, so, it means a lot to him. He's made a huge investment here. And so it'll be an emotional day, but we're going to have to keep our emotions under control, and be ready to play the game.
Another one of the seniors being honored reached a milestone on Saturday night, Jordan Mims. Is it a big deal to have a 1,000-yard rusher in this program, especially when there hasn't been one or hadn't been one in 8 years?
Yeah, I mean, he's another one that go back with a long way in recruiting him when he was a high school kid, and to see how he's matured as a person, as a player. To reach a milestone of 1,000 yards is always a nice thing for a running back to do. And, couldn't happen to a better guy. He's a guy that just shows up every day and works his hardest and does what he can to help the team win. And so for him to have 1,000 yards, I think that's nice personally for him. But I think if you asked him, means more to win than that, So, but it's nice that he has that accomplishment.
So Jay Kaner is named Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week, well deserved. Were you surprised that David Morales didn't get Defensive Player of the Week for his outstanding game on Saturday?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, somebody obviously played better, so I don't really pay attention to that very often. Hardly know that, except maybe Savannah, fills me in on it. But, that's last week. Perales played a great game, did a really nice job. And but now we're on to this week, and we have a very difficult Wyoming team coming to town, and very physical, tough team. There are always battles with Wyoming, and I expect the same this week.
With Wyoming coming to town, obviously by now you've seen the end of that game, how they lost to Boise State. Kind of two questions here. Were you aware of the outcome of that game? Maybe by the time you guys were done, so you knew that the division or the championship game was set. And how do you think that they've been playing the last few weeks as well as they had here?
Well, they've been playing well. I mean, they've been a lot of close games. No, I mean, to answer your first question, I really didn't pay attention to what was going on with them until, somebody mentioned it. It's not like I got off the field and went and looked for it. I mean, at the end, typically at the end of a Saturday, you look just at college football in general and see what happened in college football, and then kind of saw how that game ended. But they've been playing, they always play hard, and they're very close games. And if you're going to get a victory over Wyoming, you're going to have to earn it. They make it very difficult on you. They're very physical up front on offense, really good running back. Defensively, they're always one of the top defenses in the conference. Very well coached team, and they're always tough, and so we're going to have to be ready to go. And so we need a good week of practice this week, and to be ready.
With the uniqueness of the situation, where obviously you guys want to win on Friday, but no matter the outcome, that you're heading to Boise the next week. Do you start looking at Boise on film this week at all?
No, absolutely not. No, our focus is, it's a short week, so our focus has to be on Wyoming for sure. But we'll have the extra day to get to Boise, on Saturday as far as watching their stuff. And, we played Boise enough to kind of know who they are, but that's a week from now. That's not this week. Our focus is 100% on Wyoming.
And then last question for me, I know you kind of touched upon the Thanksgiving meal, but it seems like we ask you this question every year, but with Thanksgiving being on Thursday, what are you thankful for this year?
Oh, there's so many things to be thankful for. my family, obviously, first and foremost. The opportunity to be here and be around these players on a daily basis and our staff, and just this is a great opportunity, and to have this job and to be able to compete like this with such great kids and stuff. Really thankful for that. But first and foremost, it's my wife and my kids and my grandson, and that's number one. And so we've been very blessed, and we're going to make sure on Thanksgiving to make sure that our kids, that our players take time to show their appreciation for the people in their lives that they're thankful for.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
I noticed in your 12 seniors at minimum, right, there could be more. 3 of them were your first recruiting class. That's Dante Bull, Zane Pope, and
Mims?
Jordan Mims. Thank you. Jordan Mims. How special are those 3 guys? I mean, usually in college football, you see guys move around, but for 6 years they stayed here, and they've been your players twice now.
Yeah, it's like I said about all of those guys. Unfortunately, Dante can't play, but to see the growth and development in those young men, like not just as football players, but as people, still remember going to their home visits and way back when, and now to see them grow up, how mature they are, have graduated, they've just really done a great job. And, they've been committed to this program and have worked really hard. And so, for them to be in the position they're in now is very fulfilling. And I'm really proud of those guys, no doubt about it.
Wyoming, they should be a run-focused team because they're quarterback. I mean, they have 2 different quarterbacks right now that are out. So how do you feel about your run defense stacking up against the Cowboys' run offense?
It's going to be difficult. They run the ball pretty much against anybody, so they're very physical up front, very good offensive line, really good running back. I'm sure their quarterback is going to be back this week. He didn't play last week, but I would imagine he'd be back this week, but don't know that for sure. But they're big and physical up front. There's no doubt about it. And they play with multiple tight ends, and they're going to run it downhill at you. There's no question, So they're going to test you. I don't know that you're ever going to stop them. You're not stopping them. You just hope to limit them.
Does the closeness of that Boise game kind of raise any alarms because Boise's a really good team and Wyoming took them to the final whistle?
No alarm. I would expect that. You have, 2 very physical football teams. Both of them, both really good on defense, both real physical on their offensive lines. So I wasn't surprised that it was a tight game.
It's a good question. I just think that every guy in that locker room's had an intense belief and passion for what we could do, and I just think every guy in that locker room believes in one another. And even when I got hurt, I still, felt the conviction in the locker room, and guys knew that okay, we hit adversity. And I even told them, going into Oregon State and going into SC, those games are filled with adversity. They always are. The tough ones are always filled with adversity. There's really good moments, and then there's low moments, and you got to fight through that and be able to come out on the other side with a win. And obviously we didn't do that this year, but I think the season has been a great example of what happens. What do you do when adversity hits? What do you do in life when adversity hits? And I think this team, this group has done a really good job of responding, and I never doubted that we'd be able to go on a run like this, and I'm proud of the guys for being able to do it.
And what are you driven by or focused on for Friday night?
Just got to enjoy it, man. This whole process has been crazy, and coming here and going through it, and I mean, I'm going to be emotional. I get emotional just sitting here talking about it. Yeah, this whole week's going to be filled with a lot of emotion, just because this place means a lot to me, and my teammates mean a lot to me, and going in here one more time, want to emphasize getting a win, for the crowd and for my family, and for our team. So I'm looking forward to it.
Jake had to look past this Friday, but to have the opportunity to win a conference championship against the ball teams, Boise State.
Yeah.
Kind of mentioned in post game about what that means, but
Yeah.
how special is that going to be?
That's going to be awesome. But right now I want to focus on everything. Going to Wyoming, and focus on beating them, but obviously having the opportunity to play Boise again is going to be an awesome opportunity. I was telling Evan when we were standing there pregame that we need an opportunity to play here. So we get that opportunity, but right now our focus is towards senior night and getting a win on Friday.
Since it's Thanksgiving week, I'd like to ask, what you're thankful for, but before, you talk about the personal things, on the football side of things, to have two guys approaching or have passed 1,000 yards rushing and receiving.
Yeah.
How important are they to this offense?
They're huge pieces and huge weapons that I get to have, one in the backfield and one on the perimeter, and, they're special players, and obviously they put a lot of work into this, and they're just as dedicated as I am to it and towards their craft. So, I'm happy to see them succeed on the field, and you got to keep working, keep improving.
And then kind of going back to that, as you reflect on senior day and walking down the ramp for the last time, since it's Thanksgiving week,
yeah.
you kind of think about what you're thankful for this time of year?
Yeah. I'm thankful for a lot of things. Just everybody in my life, the people that have helped me get to this point, my family, friends, teammates, coaches. This community has been great to me, and I don't want to sit up here and get all emotional because I'm going to on Friday, but just the opportunity to play this game, it's something a lot of people take for granted, and I got to realize this year how special this game is to me and this community and this program. So it's gonna enjoy it, man. Gonna enjoy the week because it's gonna come fast and go fast, and the whole process is, like I said, been a blessing to me and my family, and I'm gonna just keep enjoying it.
Well, the best is yet to come. And speaking of, I'm just wondering if you've gone through some reps that David Perales might get on offense after watching back the film of his quick reflexes on that pick. Can
He
you give
dropped
us
the
your
first
review?
one. He dropped the first one. Yeah. That was a great, obviously, play by him. He came up to me before the game. He's like, dude, we're going off this game. And that's just how David is. His energy, he always has positive energy, and we're always pushing each other. And he's like, you're going to be conference player of the week. I'm going to be conference player of the week. And he's like, let's manifest it now. What do you say? And I was like, let's just get a win, dude. Like, that's great and all, but like, let's just get a win. And that dude goes out there and has a couple sack. What do you have? 2 tackles for loss, sack, pick, forced fumble. Dude, yeah. It's just great ball skills, and I just you can't teach that kind of stuff. So I was happy to see him. Obviously, dude works his tail off, and it's showing. So I'm happy for him, and he's obviously a big piece of that defense, and we're gonna need him to keep stepping up.
Jake, Steven asked you about Crop and Mims together in that 1,000-yard milestone. So Mims gets his. You guys are aware of how close Crop is. How badly do you guys want to get that for him?
He's gonna get it. I just think you're gonna keep playing football. What is it? 25 yards?
36.
I think he'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think when you're trying to be successful and do all these things on the field, I don't think you need to start worrying about stats. I think you just need to go play and perform and do what you do. And I think the moment you start trying to worry about things like that, you lose focus on the present moment and everything that you're trying to do in that moment, and start trying to chase things and do things out of your comfort zone and out of your normal gameplay. So I just think Crop needs to go play and do what he does, and I'll get him the ball, and the rest will take care of itself.
I know you said you're not worried about stats. I have one more stats question for you, though. You moved into 4th place on Fresno State's all-time list for career passing yards. It's obviously a list with a lot of big names. What does that mean to you? How big of a deal is that for you?
That's great. Great honor. Be able to be, obviously with those guys in that area, but when it comes down to it, in the grand scheme of things, the only thing that matters is getting wins. And when people remember quarterbacks, they remember for conference championships and not a bunch of stats. So I want to be able to get that title and do everything I can to put that stamp on a 2022 season. So we'll get there when we get there, but now it's time for Wyoming, and we got to do everything we can to be as prepared as possible for them.
You mentioned being emotional this week because of all the senior day celebrations and stuff. You've watched other players walk down that ramp, have their name read aloud over the PA system, people cheering, crying, and all that stuff. What has it been like for you in the past watching others go through that?
I can remember it when I was still at Washington, just kind of watching seniors come out and just being like, wow, like I'm so far away from that. That's like not even gonna like happen anytime soon. And the years fly by, and now I'm gonna be the one walking down. So yeah, it's emotional. Yeah, it is. And I've put a ton of time into this place, and there's been a lot of hours put into, my craft and just being a Bulldog, man. It's been probably the best decision that I've ever made, is being here and putting in the hours with my teammates and my coaches, and it definitely is something I'll always remember. So I can't get too caught up with that. I got to be able to go play a game afterwards, but just football means a ton to me. It has for my entire life. That it's been my life, and hopefully it's going to continue to be my life. But I don't take these moments lightly, because it's special, and my family's going to be down there, and they've been through the ups and downs with me. So I'm going to continue to do what I do, but I'm definitely going to enjoy the moment and appreciate my family and my loved ones being down there with me, and enjoy the moment, man. You don't get two of those. You get one shot at it, and we'll just go enjoy it and play a great game.
Have you been able to enjoy the moments throughout the course of not just this season, but your career?
I think I have, and I think this year I've learned to really enjoy them a lot more. I think in the past you kind of just go through it and you prepare, and weeks go by, week after week, and you're just kind of in the thick of it, and sometimes you forget to kind of just sit there and appreciate what you get to do. And being hurt this year and going through what I've had to go through in my career is obviously, people go through things, but the last, I would say, 6 to 8 weeks, I've really kind of sat back and appreciated what I get to do on a daily basis, and how fortunate I am to be in the position that I am. And obviously being healthy now is awesome, but I just have so much respect for Fresno State, for the game, and everything that it brings me.
So on Saturday night, you were slinging the ball around the field. You've been obviously doing that the entire season. That touchdown to Mac Delana meant a lot to Mac. What did it mean to you?
No, it was awesome to see Mac get an opportunity, and he has improved so much the last, I would say, 8 to 10 months, and the kid's competed, he's battled, and he thought that he was obviously doing some things where he thought he deserved an opportunity to get out there, and he just kind of put his head down, and that's a highly competitive room, and he does not shy away from competition, and he just goes and does things right. And it's good to see that pay off for him a little bit. I was happy for him, and I thought he played really well on Saturday. He had, how many catches did he have? 3, 4?
Yeah,
Three?
4.
4? Yeah, no, I just think he's going to continue to get better, and there's going to be a lot of guys obviously leaving in this room after this season. So I think he's going to get a great opportunity next year to hopefully make a big impact. So kid's doing a good job.
You mentioned as you walked up to the podium that the cold doesn't affect you. Obviously, you're going sleeveless today. You went sleeveless on Saturday. Who was the first person to say something to you about that? And looking back on it now, Morales had a great game, but he wore sleeves. So
Yeah.
How do you approach that? And I guess the second part to that is, will you go sleeveless in Boise?
I haven't really looked at the weather report for Boise yet. Like I said, we're focused on Wyoming, but obviously it depends. I was warm enough pre-game and felt great pre-game. Obviously, I didn't even wear a cold gear shirt or anything. I just wore my normal stuff that I wear. That second half, I got a little chilly, not gonna lie to you. So, I was fine, but I just got to be able to keep my arm warm and do all those things necessary to be able to go perform, in tight games in the fourth quarter when I got to, count on my arm and do everything necessary to get a win. So, we'll see. I might do a couple of things differently, but, you adjust and adapt as things go on.
Jake, that Boise-Wyoming game was very physical and low scoring. What does Wyoming's defense do well, and what did they do well last year as well when it was a 17-0 win for you guys?
I think the cold obviously played a factor in their game. It was like 0 degrees or something like that. So Wyoming's always good in the trenches. They got a lot of big boys up front. And, you know, they play a lot of man coverage, so they're, you know, packing some guys in the box and expecting, you know, teams to run the ball. And I mean, it's usually a physical dogfight. So, you know, we'll see. We'll look at the tape and, you know, see how we can exploit some of their weaknesses and go about it that way.
And last question for me, what do you see in terms of growth from the offensive line? I think all 5 of them graded very well on a Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we get into empty and give them an opportunity to, you know, only rush 4 or 5 guys and do some good things like that. And, you know, I think obviously they're gelling together, guys are playing together, and I think as far as, you know, what are we, week 12 now? They get more opportunities to get on the field and play and improve. So I think Coach T is doing a really good job of keeping that unit close, playing a couple extra guys and keeping them fresh, and obviously just giving me an opportunity to throw the ball down the field.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, nobody asked you about, unless they did after the game, when Jordan Mims threw you into the end zone. Did you feel that? Did you guys have
He
good
pushed
talk
me.
about that?
Oh yeah, he pushed me in there. He came up and he's like, "Dude, you weren't getting in if I wasn't behind you." And I was like, "Hey." Yeah, no, obviously having him back there, strong dude, pushing me in, and I kind of got stood up the first time. The second time, we kind of let the linebacker crease the A gap, and I kind of just fell in. But the first one that was all Mimsy. We should give him the touchdown, not me. So no, obviously having Jordan back there is obviously a big help. And didn't they outlaw the push for a little bit? I think they did, because obviously the Bush push was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then I think they outlawed it, and now it's legal again.
That's what I was wondering, if we have a name for that. You know, the Bush push was the Bush push, but what's this?
What do you want to call it?
I don't know.
I mean, you're on the call.
I mean,
That's whatever you want.
we'll think about it.
Yeah, we'll think about it. We'll come up with a
Get
name.
back to you.
Yeah, maybe if we do something big in Boise and we get another push, you can name it then.
I like it.
You got time.
Cool, thanks, Jake.
Thanks.
And it's a couple of
Thanks, Jake.